Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and my Collecting Smart series. Tonight is going to be kind of a follow-up to the last Collecting Smart we did, where we talked about your finances and your comics. This time we're going to be talking about using your comics to fund your comics. My normal co-host couldn't make it tonight. Matt, the boy who had 7, had some family stuff, but he gave us our blessing, and I'm going to be joined by a couple people and maybe a third later, depending on if he can get away. But first up is my most frequent guest and common substitute co-host. I think you've substituted for Matt like 2 or 3 times at this point. What's going on, Big Will?
Well, hey, I didn't know I was your most common guest. Wow, I feel honored
outside
now.
of Matt, of course, but maybe you or Kavi. It's close. You or NYC, I would say, are right there, neck and neck. So, but I don't think Kavi's ever actually substituted as co-host for Matt. So you have done that a couple times, I think. So.
Oh, well, thank you. And I have a right.
That is excellent. And our other guest for tonight is Mr. DS Comics. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Glad to be here. I think, is this the first time I've ever been on your channel? I think it might be.
I feel like you've been on something, but definitely the first time I think you've been on. Well, you've been on this show, I thought, before. I thought you were a guest on this once before.
It might have been. I know I've been on shows with you before, but I don't know if it was on your channel. But either way, I'm honored to be included in this discussion.
I feel like you have been, but I can't remember. It all runs together.
Yeah, I feel that too.
It all runs together. But like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about, using your comics to fund your comics. If anybody in the chat and stuff, I'll shout out the chat in just a second, and watch my video from Saturday. This is a road I'm thinking about going down, and I've got a couple people who have been doing this for a while as my guests tonight to talk about it. So mostly I will be listening and they will be talking. But first, let's shout out this chat. We had Coach Vic in here early. What's going on, man? Cameron D, thank you for joining us as always. House to the End. Unruly Simeon, who is like never misses a live stream, I don't think, that I do. And really is the man. Jay Hood, what's going on? Jay Hood made some nice comments on my video from Saturday. So hopefully this will be helpful because he's thinking about going down this road too. DS, you were in the chat. Kavi Books NYC, what's going on, Kavi? Let's see. Aggressively relaxing. WhoDat says he can join and chat for 30 minutes. Did you not get the link, WhoDat? I thought I sent it to you. If not, maybe resend your email because it was right. Let's see. Bulgarian, what's going on? Southern Comic Geek, Man Cave Comics. Dang, got a bunch of people in here already. So yeah, just let me know, WhoDat, if you for some reason did not get that email, and I will resend it. So that is our other potential guest. And so first thing I'm going to ask you guys as we get started, and maybe see if WhoDat pops in here. Are you guys at this stage fully funding your comics with your comics?
Yes, I am fully doing that.
Big Will?
As of right now, if you don't count the 3 titles I have at the pool box, yes, all the ancillary books and the other stuff I want in my collection, yes, it's funded with other books.
Other books. So can I ask the two of you, how long did it take you to get to that stage where you could do that?
I mean, for me, it took, I don't know. I mean, I got back in the hobby probably like 5 years ago, something like that. And what I did was I took the books that I had when I was younger, which were still at my parents' house. I got all those back in my possession. And then I would save up some money from my job, my paycheck, and I would buy some smaller stuff. Then I started doing some CGC grading. And really what I did was just work with what I had from when I was younger and buying stuff when I could afford it.
Right.
And I was not really selling anything until I felt like I wanted to move to the next level, and there were books now that I wanted that were outside what I was able to get. So I had to figure out a way to start getting bigger books, and I couldn't do it with just paycheck money anymore. So I decided to start strategically sort of looking at each one as like an individual investment and selling ones that had appreciated in value and putting that into some bigger ones. And it sort of snowballed from there. And the more I did it, the less attached I became to the books, where it became easier to part with them. And, you know, you work your way up. And at this point, you know, 5 years later, you know, if I see a good investment opportunity or something, I have books that I can sell, and I have some big books, and I try to buy books that I can flip. And all the money is just sort of snowballing from what I have worked on for the last 5 years. So that's pretty much how I do it. I try to keep money in an account ready to go if I see something. So I have like a reserve,
Right.
like $1,000, usually like $2,000 ish. And then if I see a good deal, I can pounce on it. But then otherwise, I'm just buying, I'm selling stuff and buying new stuff and selling that and buying new stuff. So
I'm not sure that's the best way to go about it, Eddie Kidding, but you know, whatever it takes, man. So have to go and bake. What about you, Big Will? How long did it take you to kind of get to this stage where you're basically where you're completely funding it in and of itself?
Well, as of right now, I deal in smalls. I'm not dealing with the bigger books like DS is. So it was actually pretty easy to start once I made the decision. But it's now going to take me a little longer of a time period finding books and buying them and then getting them flipped in order to move up to a different tier of books. But I'm to that point now. I'm just waiting on a few things here and there, and then I can start. But as for the initial decision, I decided, hey, I need to make this stuff pay for itself. So I looked at my collection, and I had a few books that I bought for, you know, speculation that I was just going to hold for a little while and then hopefully sell and make some money. But they were worth money now, you know, just not quite as much as they could be. So I sold those, and that allowed me some money. I think I got like $200, and I used that to buy $200 worth of books. Then I sold that and then started basically splitting it in half, using half the money to buy other books, making sure I get deals and things that are valued at $1, but its actual value is, you know, $20.
Right.
And then I flip it like that. And then the other half, I have a fund. I call it my goal fund. Like DS said he had a fund, and that's where the other half goes until I'm ready to make a purchase of some sort. And that's how I do it. And I have an example right here of that. Is I found this at a shop for $5. It's Spawn number 8, you know, the one where he swipes himself like he does so many times.
Yeah, like he's done 1 million times.
But it's a newsstand. So this is immediately now a $20 book. If I get it pressed and slabbed, I could probably get, you know, $80 to $100 out of it.
Right.
And I paid $5. And if I do grading and pressing, that's what, another $26. So I'm in it $31 total.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, one thing I say, I deal with big books now, but it's not because I'm some, you know, big high roller or anything. It's just because I've worked on my way up. And honestly, it's easier if when you work your way up to just move bigger books here and there. But it wasn't long ago, and I still do it. If I see a book for $5 that I can flip for 20, it's all about percentages. Don't get wrapped up in you have to have certain type of books. Doesn't matter what it is, it's just percentages. If you can buy something for 5 and sell it for 20, that's 300% profit. That's massive. And you do that over and over, and you just can work your way up to bigger books. The thing about bigger books that's good is you don't need a big percentage to make money. If you sell a $5,000 book and you only make 10%, which would be a small gain in like the flip market here, it's still $500. You know what I mean? 10% on a $5,000 book is $500. So that's a legit. You don't need as big of margins on bigger books. You can make money on all of it. It's just as you work your way up, you can work with bigger books, and you can get a less of a percentage, and it makes it easier to make a profit because you don't need a big percentage to make a lot of money.
Yeah. And right now I'm buying, like I said, doing smalls.
Yeah, it says he did not.
So I'll buy something for less than $20 and I'll buy multiple ones. And then I'm sure you've seen a couple of my auctions where I have like 30 lots or items that I sell, and I'll lose money on, 4 or 5 of them. But overall, I make a profit.
Yeah, I don't win on everything. I'll tell you, I just spent $1,300 on an ASM3 that was a 4.5 slab, and I thought I could press it and bump it up. So I bought it, cracked it out, cleaned it, pressed it, came out nice. Had some issues I couldn't see when it was in the slab when I bought it. Sent it in. I just got the grade today, 4.5. Didn't bump. It's not a winner. It's sort of like a break even, but I think I can still squeeze a couple hundred out of it. So yeah, I mean, you don't win on them all. I mean, it's about risk too. And what you do is you just try to have the winners outpace the break evens and the losers so that it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's all you just progress. It's progress and percentages.
And I don't know how DS feels about this, but let's say I buy a book for 10, do $20 worth of work on it, and turns out it's only worth, 25. Well, I would sell it immediately as soon as I could, and then put that 25 towards something that I knew was going to make a profit, rather than just hold on to it and not sell it. Because I've lost the money. It doesn't matter that I haven't sold it yet. If it's not valuable, it doesn't have value. You know what I'm saying? So I like to do quick and make sure I have something that has value, and then sell it and actually have that value transform into this thing called cash.
Yeah, there's definitely one element that a lot of people ignore, and it's bigger than the money. It's a resource, and it's time. The resource is time. There's a time element to all this too. And if you can make, 5% immediately, that's better than 20% next year, because you can take that money and put it back to work for you. And it just depends on what you're comfortable with, but don't discount the value of time. The quicker you can move on to new things, that's a resource in and of itself, because you can move quicker and make more and put your money back to work for you. There's some books I buy and I hold for a couple of years, and there's some books I buy that I flip as fast as I can. And I might not make a lot on either one, but it just depends on the type of book it is. But don't be afraid to take a loss if you make a mistake, because what are you going to hold on to your mistake and be stubborn and not give it up? It's not doing you any good. Sometimes you buy something like that ASM3, which I thought I could bump it up and double my money on it. That's not happening. I'm not going to hold it now and hope that it appreciates 5 years from now. I'll just sell it. Maybe I can make $100 on it, and I'll move on. I didn't do well on it. It's not a winning book, but I don't want to invest a lot of time into it now. I've already invested money into it. I don't want to now throw more time at it. So I'll just get what I can and move on. So yeah, you've got to be okay taking a loss or a break even in some circumstances to move on. Otherwise, you get bogged down with stubbornness because you don't want to take a loss on anything, and that's just not realistic.
Okay. Well, before you guys jump into anything else, our other guest has arrived. Mr. WhoDat, what's going on, man?
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you tonight, man?
Nothing much, just packaging stuff up.
So, the first question I asked, actually, before we start asking you some questions, I've had some people hop in here. I'm going to shout the chat one more time. Rob Boswell, thank you for joining us. Ed D, what's going on? Some comic book hunter, thank you for hopping in, for hearing what I shouted out earlier. Bake the Snake, Comic Kid 84. I think that's everybody. I think I've shouted out Jay. I think I shouted him out earlier. So, WhoDat, what about you, man? We've been talking a little bit. Both of these guys are their comic collections are completely self-sufficient at this point. They are funding all their purchases via selling what they already have. Are you at that stage yet?
Yeah, I talked to my wife actually not too long ago about that, and I said I'm at a point now that anything I want to buy, I will sell something if I want to buy it. I'm not using any of my personal money anymore to buy books. And if I do use anything, I'm replacing that money when I sell something on auction or like the mystery boxes or something like that. Just giving examples. If I use that type of money, but I try to not use that money at all and just sell first, and then I'll have that cash on hand. Um, because I've missed out on deals in the past, and when I got to that point, I said I'm not gonna let that happen anymore. And I know D is probably consider the same thing. You're like, man, I wish I'd have had that extra couple $1,000. I could have got this book now. It's worth 10,000. So it's, I could have bought a Turtles. I'll put it like this: I could have bought a Turtles 1 9.4 older label maybe 3 or 4 years ago. 9.4 for the same price I got my 9.0.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the extra cash. Money was tied up in other books. So I said, you know what? I need to, move some things, and some things I can hold if I don't have a lot of money into it, but, get rid of the stuff especially that gets hot,
Makes sense. So for you, I feel like in watching you and that kind of stuff, you're kind of in between. Big Will is mostly little books, that he's moving mass numbers. DS is mostly few big books. I feel like you do a little bit of both. What is your philosophy as you go about looking for stuff do you look for stuff specifically to turn, or do you mostly just whatever comes your way, and if you turn it, you turn it, and if you don't, you don't?
I don't really look for stuff specifically to turn. If I know stuff at certain price points, especially if it gets hot, or all of a sudden it gets on the top 10 list or something like that. Because my shop is pretty good on new books. So if something gets hot, I usually just go to the shop, pick it up for cover, and I'll sell it for more. I did it on the auction just recently, and nothing wrong with somebody buying it because it's selling for $45 to $50. Is that Batman 80 is 89?
Yeah.
I ended up selling that book and I think 3 other books for $50. I literally bought all those books for cover price. So it didn't hurt me getting rid of that book, plus the other books. I do look for bigger books, but the bigger books I look for is like maybe books that are like in that $100 range that, if you, get graded, it works out to being maybe $200, $300, $400. If I can double my money, or if I can even just get 50% on my money, it's still a win. In my book, as long as I'm in the green, if that makes any sense, as far as getting when I search for books. And some books I take a chance on. Long as I'm under the eBay prices. I think I just bought a Century #1, the New York Comic Con, no, not New York, San Diego Comic Con exclusive. That book selling for like over $70 on eBay plus shipping, so it's really like $80. My shop, I end up getting it for like $55. I took a little chance, but it's still selling for more than what I got it for. I just kind of play the options field. But, big books, you got to be able to, I think, grade and or be able to be tell in between grades. If it's hard to explain that. If you get a book and you buy this, you think it could be a 4.0 to a 5.0. To me, that's good to know because
a big difference.
You know where to go for as money wise. So,
yeah, and I was talking with JP. You and me were talking about this recently. I call it ballpark grading. I'm not a professional grader, and when you're buying stuff on eBay, especially, I call it ballpark grading. Just the even numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, and you'd be able to look at a book quick and pick what grade is it closest to, what whole number grade is it closest to, and you can look at a book quick and you can tell this looks like it's 7.0 range, which means it's anywhere from 6.5 to 7.5. You're ballparking it. But I just go on the even numbers and I'll say, is this a 7 or a 6 or an 8? And I'll be like, 7's closest. So then I know what a 7 goes for. I can see what that book's going for. If it looks like there's a large enough disparity, it's worth picking up. And sometimes it comes back 6.5. Sometimes it comes back 7.5 or 8. Sometimes it's 7. But you're in the ballpark and you want to get it lower than what you ballparked it at. And if you do that over and over, and you get most of them right, you can make a lot of money. And I hit all the tiers. I don't usually hit too much stuff under 100 these days. But from 100 to 200, there's a lot of opportunities. And from like 200 to 400, there's tons of opportunities. There's a lot of undervalued, undergraded stuff out there in the $200 to $400 range that you can make nice profits on. A couple $100 a book. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to know how to grade, but you know how to. You should be able to ballpark grade it, and that's what I do. Yeah. What whole number is it closest to, and then you want to be pretty close to that. And of course, you want to buy it for under a good bit under what that would go for. So.
Yeah. I try to stay away from books that people sell, and they say, "Well, this sells for graded at this price," and I'm like, "Well, it's not graded." And I'm not going to give you that price at all. I'll probably, the closest I would do is somebody, oh, this is I know it's a 9.6, so I'm selling it for a 9.6 price. Well, I'll give you a 9.0 price.
Right.
And we'll go from there.
And I'd like to add to that ever since I started doing my little grading videos, I'm paying more attention to how I grade a comic and what I'm looking at, and I'm still learning, but I'm also getting better at it, and that'll only help you. And I would also say that I think it's kind of like what they were saying here is a lot of people sometimes mess this up, but when you're speculating on like Punchline, for example, you make your money when you sell it, and your money's tied up until then. When you're trying to flip or do what the three of us are doing and let your collection pay for itself, you want to make your money when you purchase the book. In other words, if it's going for 50, you don't want to purchase it at 50. You want to purchase it at 25 or 15. That way you can immediately sell it if you need to, and you could also wait if it's got some potential, but if you're just speculating, you don't make anything until you sell it. And how often does that work out? Yeah. So it helps to know how to grade and all, because you are more likely to make your money when you purchase it rather than having to wait until you sell it.
Makes sense. Yeah, I would say that if somebody who's like contemplating going down this road and has set aside some funds to start like trying to build a little equity and move some books, that's been the most intimidating factor, is trying to look and say, that looks like a good price, but am I grading that right? Am I like judging that book correctly? And I feel like that's the part that I struggle with the most, is I look at books and like, am I really seeing what I'm seeing? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, the ballpark grade is really, I mean, you don't have to know you have to know a little bit about grading, but I mean, JP, you'll be surprisingly accurate. You look at the spine, you look at, the cover, the creases. You can tell if there's a lot of wear or not. And, if you have enough, really, in order to ballpark it, all you have to do really is have enough slabs going through your hands or in your collection. And if you have some 7.0s, just take one day and grab all your 6.5s and 7.0s in your slabs and just look closely at them and get a feel for what kind of books end up in 6.5, 7s. Go look at some of your 9.0s. Go look at some of your 3.5s. Just get a feel for what they look like. And you sort of want to have a ballpark feel for the book. Like when I'm looking at books like a late bronze, not super high keys, something that I want like in a 9.0 or higher to flip, I'll look at the spine. If there's more than 2 spine ticks, more than 2 or 3 spine ticks, I'm out. But if there's not really any spine ticks, or maybe there's one and maybe a corner's wear, it looks pretty solid, yeah, it's in the 9s. Is it a 9.4 or 9.2? I don't know. I mean, I bought a Strange Tales 169 that looked like it was in the 9s. I don't know if it was a 9.8 or a 9.2 or whatever, but it was in the 9s. And the price he had it at was like $75. So I don't have to be exactly on. I bought it, cleaned it, pressed it, and I got it on 4. So it's worth substantially more than $175. So, that was just ballpark grading, and you just get a feel for it by looking at your own slabs or looking at other slabs online, and you can sort of get a feel for where the grades fit.
Okay.
Yeah. I learned by getting stuff graded, and then I learned from also looking at certain flaws inside the book. But I getting so much stuff graded, I've noticed that they ding more for stuff outside of the book than inside. That's just my feeling on that, but in my experience with it. So that's why I concentrate so much on that spine, those edges, the back cover, any tears, any rips, pieces missing cover, depending on the age of the book, because you can have like was a marble chipping and still get a high grade on a book. I mean, I could show you a couple books that have some marble chipping, but because how they grade for marble chipping, it comes back a 6.5. If that was a normal book, it probably would have came back a 4 or lower.
But as long as you pay attention to the book, you'll probably be in the ballpark, like DS says, on grading. I once got a Deadpool #1, the Circle Chase, graded, and how I graded it myself back in the day was that old look at it in the bag and Ward go, yeah, that's a 9.8. Send it off. Came back an 8.5. It had color loss from someone's finger on the back. I didn't even notice because I didn't look.
And they're very harsh on thumbprints now. Finger, anything with the fingerprints. I noticed.
And there's some other things you can do besides just ballparking raws. You can look for slabs in old holders, CBCS or CGC. And especially, I recommend anybody who wants to sort of make their collection self-sufficient to start cleaning and pressing your own books. Save so much time and so much money. And you get a feel for what can be fixed on a book, what can bump. And you don't always get it right, like the ASM3. Yeah, I pressed out a bunch of stuff, but there's some deep scratches in it and it couldn't bump. But you can tell what can be cleaned, what can be pressed, what can bump a little. And if you got, like, I bought a Batman 181, and there's a 5.5 in an old CBCS holder, and I got it for like $400. So at a 5.5, it's already in the money at a 5.5, for $400. But it looked like it had compressible defects, so it's at CGC now. I'm hoping it comes back a 6, maybe a 6.5, and I have 400 in it plus the grading, so it's going to be a profit on that no matter what. But I didn't have to guess on the grade or worry about the interior defects or the pinup. It was already slabbed, and it was in an old holder, and I could tell there was some stuff, and it was already priced good. So that's like slam dunk purchase when you see it. So stuff like that comes along all the time. I just bought a Marvel Spotlight 5 yesterday in a slab, and let me see here. I'll show you it here.
Yeah.
This one is a slam dunk too. These come up on eBay all the time. It was a Marvel Spotlight 5, 5.0.
CBCS.
Yeah, CBCS, old holder. I don't know if it'll bump or not, but 215, you can't go wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, maybe that'll bump, maybe it won't. But I mean, I know for a fact that's a 5.0. So that makes it very easy. So you can look at slabs too, and you can make some money on those, especially if you're cleaning and pressing.
Yeah. And don't fall into the trap that just because it's an older label slab that a press will help. You actually have to look at the book.
Yeah.
Some people make that mistake.
And the nice thing is that I will say is with CBCS, if you look at older slabs and stuff, is you can go on their website and you can get graders notes for any book. You don't have to, unlike with CGC, you can actually kind of see what they're saying is wrong with it.
Yeah.
You think you see something, because I have done that a few times, and then seeing that, well, actually there is color break or whatever that you couldn't necessarily see from the pictures that probably means it would. So that's just something that I do occasionally. Now, I know DS presses. WhoDat, do you press or your own book?
I do not press my own books. That's why I try to get books a little bit cheaper. I put that a factor in my head. I always add that factor in my head. The good thing is I do send my books to a guy, and I usually send 10 at a time. but I wait until he does like 15% off or 10% off, and then I'll send books. But I always put that factor in my head. It's going to be $10 more for pressing. And then I build that into my price. It's not a lot of money per book, but when you're doing 10 books, it becomes a lot, So I don't have the room or time to press my books, but if I ever do, and I probably will, because I know a lot of people out there who do it, so I could always ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's really not that hard. The cleaning is more dangerous than pressing, but you just have to be very careful and take your time and go slow. But I'll tell you, if you have an eraser, if you only have this, you can clean books effectively. So if you just have this, you can clean books effectively. And if you get a press, it's really not that hard. It takes some time to master, which I haven't done yet, but I'm getting better. But right off the bat, you get good results. Right off the bat, you get improvement. So this and a press, right off the bat, you'll get improvement. It just, sometimes people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They don't want to spend the money and try it. They're not sure how it's going to go. It's going to be difficult. They don't know what they're doing. And people don't want to, go outside their comfort zone on it. But if you take that leap for, a few $100 and get a press, watch some YouTube videos, do some research, and try it, you'll be amazed. It's much easier to get improvement than people think. Now, you're not going to get perfection right off the bat, but right off the bat, the first couple books you press, you will get marked improvement right off the bat, and especially with this for cleaning. So it's worth a shot if you have the money and you want to take that leap. It's definitely worth it. And it doesn't take, you don't have to spend years learning it. It's right off the bat, you'll get improvement.
What about you, Big Will? I don't believe you clean or press your own stuff, right?
Oh hell no! I ain't gonna do that stuff, man. I'm gonna burn a book or something. I'm the opposite of he who is below. I am never using CCS again. I can tell you that. But I'll just go to someone who will press for me like $10 a book, and I just make sure I get books at a great deal. Like I showed you before we went on air, I just bought 41 Aquaman books. And of those, this entire stack is Silver Age. And I paid about $1 a book. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
When I sell these, I will make a profit and I'll be good to go. And that'll cover, some pressing and cleaning, which is included on some other books that are more of value. So, yeah, I don't even touch that. I thought about it. I looked into it, and no.
One I doubt, but
yeah, and I have made mistakes and I have damaged some books. I've early on when I started cleaning, I would go too fast, or my technique was wrong around the corners, and I would catch a corner with the eraser and put a little tear in it. You got a 9.0 book and you do that, you just screwed yourself because you're not even going to be close now. And yeah, I mean, I'm not really averse to risk. I'll take risks. I know I'm going to screw stuff up sometimes, but I try to 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I'll screw something up, and then I'll try to get the next 2 right to make up for that, and it's just progress. But I'm not afraid to try new things, and a lot of times when you try new things, most of the time you'll screw up initially, but it's, you've got to – it's a learning curve for everything. And, yeah, I've screwed stuff up when I started cleaning and pressing, but it's still been worth it for me overall. So
yeah, I'm not afraid to try it. I just don't find it worth it. I just make sure I get a good deal on the book, and that'll cover it. So it's same difference to me.
Mm.
But if you got the time and patience, JP, as far as the money you got to put up front, DS is right. It would behoove you, if you like to do this and get things graded a lot. Yeah, it'll work out in your favor in the end. I just more of don't have the time to put into the effort.
that's where I feel like I'm at, probably, is the time. But we'll see where I go with that. I'm a little nervous about that. Plus, just having the time to work at it, to get good at it, is where I don't know that I'm at. Before we go any further, I need to shout out a bunch of people have hopped in here and chat in the last few minutes. Dollar Ben has joined us. Simply Incredible Podcast. I don't believe I shouted out Dang Eric yet. Dave Enrique is in here. Let's see. Ruben joined us. If I can get my mouse to work as I scroll up through here. Chris Barrett just failed on us, but that's okay. Later, Barrett. Fake the Snake. Somebody else I saw, I thought. Hot 79. Drew Manchu was in here. Thank you for joining us. I think I saw Mark Spector earlier, but I don't see him at the moment. Thank you all for kind of jumping in. Captain Comics, what's going on, my friend? So I am curious, like, you guys have went down this road and you're kind of self-sufficient at this. So what are your goals as collectors? Like, I know Big Will and DS, part of what you went to is you got really tiny collections as a whole.
I've almost completed the PC. I got a few more books to do and a couple to upgrade, and then I'll be done with that. And then it's just investment books and cool stuff that I like.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, WhoDat, I want to ask you, because I'm not as sure about you. Like, how big is your collection of stuff that you actually want to keep and have?
The stuff I want to keep is my Turtles run, which I actually marked some books down. I got to find where my notebook's at. So I'm like, only the run I want to have is actually Turtles Volume 1. Then I might extend myself to other runs of books that I actually liked and read. You know, pick those up, but it's only like 2 or 3, and they're not very long. It's like Black Panther Volume 1, and it's the Black Panther when his sister took over the mantle. Like, those are the runs I really would love to complete. And they're not big runs, but I'm not looking to go beyond that. After I get rid of a lot of stuff, I'm literally probably going to end up having one of the BCW boxes with graded books, and that would be just my PC, you know, emergency fund or whatever you want to call it, books that I want to keep. But if I need to let those go, I have to let them go. But ultimate goal is, if I have to get those go, I want to keep the Turtles. My 1 through, I think it's 63 or something like that, 64. If I just keep that run, I'm perfectly happy. After I got my #1 first print, I kind of got to a point. I talked to some guys in the office. I was like, man, I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do now. I just have fun now. I can get what I feel like getting. I'll sell what I feel like selling, and just go from there. Because, you know, once I got that, I'm just like, oh, I made it. You know, I got what I wanted. I got my Grail, and I'm happy. You know, if I don't have to get AF-15, I've had one, but I've got rid of that to get the Turtles. And it's like, I don't have to get these other books, you know, because I'm happy. But if I want to get them, I have to move a few things to get them. So my collection is going to be probably as small as these guys. But right now it's actually pretty big, but that's because I got a lot of stuff I was buying, you know, every Wednesday for a while, you know, not for a while, but years ago I was buying everything that came out. So I got probably like 4 short boxes of stuff I could get rid of. I know I can just get rid of them for $1 a piece or something, but
yeah,
you know, I'm slowly doing that.
So how many short boxes would be the I don't want to ever sell? That is mine.
2, because my Turtles can fit in actually 1 short box. Actually, it doesn't even fit in the whole short box. It's like it'd be like a little bit more than half, and then the other short box I could put, you know, Black Panther and stuff like that.
So you're telling me all of us have, like, DS? Are you included in that small core amount of books too, or we all like 2 short boxes?
Yeah, my PC is all slabs. I get all my PC books slabbed, or I buy them slabbed. So it's all slabbed. I have 3 slab boxes, which are the size of a short box, essentially. One of them has Bronze Horror in it, and it's not even half full. And then the other 2 have Golden Age, and both of those are almost full. But, you know, that's my PC today. I plan on keeping it the same size, but the books in there will change. I'll pull one out and sell it and buy a new one and put it in. So I'm trying to keep under 100 at all times in my PC. But, you know, there's a few things that I have changed in my collecting style that makes it much easier to make my collection self-sufficient. And one of them is I stopped being a completist. I stopped going for runs. I stopped doing that. I just picked specific individual books or small little sets that I came up with myself. You know, Shark covers by L.B. Cole, you know, or like Todd McFarlane Batman covers. small little sets I came up with on my own. I don't try to get runs anymore, complete things. That makes it easier. And I also try to realize, which I have over time, that even if I sell a book that I absolutely love and it's one of my grails, it will help fund another book that I've never owned that's one of my grails. So it's like trading a grail for a grail, but you get a little money extra on the side. So I'm not afraid. I don't get emotionally attached to any of the stuff. The only stuff that's harder for me to part with is the stuff that is harder to come by. I have some pretty rare Golden Age books. Those are tough to part with because they're very tough to replace. But even the average Golden Age stuff I have, I'll sell if the price is right and use it to buy other stuff. Because like I said, until I have every book I've ever wanted except for that one, I won't sell anything. I'll just try to get that one. And then I'll be complete, and then I'll be done, and I'll have everything I ever wanted. None of us are in that position. There's always going to be more books we want, no matter what you have. So why not make money on what you have and get new stuff that you didn't have? And you can, I got a Hulk 181. That was a grail at the time. And after I got it, I lost interest in it because it was the challenge of getting it and owning it and sharing it with the community. And then I moved it and got something else. And then I'll get something else and I'll love it for a while. And then I've had it and I'll move it and get something else I've never had before. And as you do that and you start getting more books, you have less of an emotional attachment to them. It's not that I like them any less. It's just that there's more stuff out there I want. And the more stuff I keep, the less I can get. If I keep turning stuff over, I can have a lot of cool books passing through my collection all the time. And I like that. Keeps it fresh for me.
Yeah. So I guess except for JP, the three of us would basically say up to maybe 3 short boxes, and that's really all we truly need.
Interesting.
I used to be a run collector, and then I wound up getting sick, losing a job, and I had to sell everything, literally everything. And I got to thinking, well, the run was Wolverine. Okay, well, what books have any value in Wolverine? 1, 8, and 10. That's pretty much it. I mean, some have a little bit of value, but it's like instead of $5, it's $6. That's the kind of value that run has. And there's 189 issues. Do I want to spend the time, have the space to have 189 issues when only ones people want are 1, 8, and 10? And I have to give the others away basically? Or do I just want 1, 8, and 10? So I changed my habits, and I'm now not necessarily a key collector. I call myself a specific collector. There's specific books that I want. And so 1, 8, and 10 is pretty much it for me. I'm not getting the rest of the run for Wolverine. I do have the Epic collection, which is the full color trades. There's, I don't know how many are going to be. They haven't released them all yet, but I do have those to read and to have so I can read it, but I don't go collecting the single issues.
Yeah, and take with a grain of salt the stuff that I'm saying about this topic tonight or any other time I talk about it, because for me, I don't only collect what I like. I'm not one of those guys that collects what I like. I collect what I like if it also has good value. And if something is something I like but doesn't really have any good investment value or real value to it, I generally will not get that, and I'll find something I like that has value or investment value going forward. So, for collecting runs, most of these runs that I was collecting that a lot of people are working on now, most of the run is worthless. It's not worth anything. The only value it has is for you to say that you completed that run. So once I liberated myself from this completism, I realized that I didn't need to collect a bunch of books that were not really worth anything. So I just stuck to the keys. And from there, I just started just winging it and picking books that I liked that were sort of grail level and not worrying about if it fits in a run. Like I'll pick up a number 2 of something. I don't have the number 1. I have no plans of getting it, but I like the number 2. So I just got that. And it's just all individual sort of single books. Now they're mostly Golden Age, but I got rid of the completism. I only pick stuff that has value and that I like, and I keep it small, and that allows a lot more opportunities to make my collection self-sufficient.
Yeah, well, collect what you love is great when you're starting out, and it's a good, rule of thumb. But if you're going to do what we're doing and try and fund your collection with your collection, You can't necessarily do that. I don't like Aquaman. What are his colors? Burnt orange and green.
I like that. I like that.
It's stupid. What about Spawn? I don't like Spawn. He's like, it's stupid. I don't like it. What did I pick up this week?
But you're picking it up for a purpose, and it's to build toward.
No, I know, but I'm saying if I just collect what I like, I wouldn't have bought them.
I will say that is one of the things that I have, like, as I've started investigating this path, and like, because I know DS does, and this was a question earlier that I will ask now, but or after I make the statement or whatever, is that DS does a lot of stuff on eBay and stuff. One of the things I've noticed is for me, and I've tried to look at a lot of stuff, but I end up looking at the stuff that I have interest in because I know something about it. Like, and those are the books. So there's books I already have interest in that I'm actually looking for bargains on. But it's a very different experience to look at the books and be thinking, is this a good, because where I've been the entire time I've collected this, is this a good price for getting this book and adding it to my collection, as opposed to, is this a good price for turning this book? And those are not always the same price. Like,
no, but actually, if you're out there trying to take advantage of opportunities, ironically, you will end up with more copies of a book that before you were just focused on picking up the right copy for your PC. Like, perfect example for this show with UJP is a Lois Lane 70.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that book's cool as hell too. I love it. It's not a PC book for me because I just stick to Golden Age. I don't want to have all stuff everywhere and have a big collection, but I've probably had 5 copies of that in the last 6 or 7 months, and some pretty nice copies of it. And it's just because I'm ready to pick deals when I find them, and that book comes along and I'll pick it up. And, you know, there was a copy I sold to Bear Island.
Yeah.
8-0. I almost regret it. I almost wanted to hold on to that a little longer because I really liked that copy.
Yeah.
But then after that, I got another copy, and I've got another copy here now. That's, you know, so it seems like when I released that focus of I need to go after this one specific book on my want list or target it, when I got rid of that, I started to find more of those, ironically. I don't know if that was by design or what.
I would think that's true, because like several of the books that I've picked up that were like on my want list, and you guys, like, I have this big want list of books that I want. It's amazing to me that like I struggle to find the right copy for the right price, struggle, and then you find it, and then if I don't always delete it from like my eBay saved searches, and like, so I'll still get them popping up, and it'll be like, and then suddenly it's like, oh well, there's one that's also a decent deal that I might have done, and there's one that was like, it seems like I see more of them after I finally find a copy than I did while I was looking for the copy for the right.
And that's why I stopped doing want lists too, because when I make a want list, I get blinders on, and I want to go after the books on that list, and I'll pass up good opportunities on other stuff because it's not on my want list. You know, I got to stick to that want list. I don't do want lists anymore. I'm just open to whatever. I know there's books I like a lot, and when they come up, hopefully they'll be at the right time for me and I can get them. But I just sort of go with the flow and see what comes my way, and I'm much more open to opportunities that way, and I score a lot of more better stuff that way. So I don't do want lists anymore.
Yeah.
So the question that was asked earlier in the chat, I forget, I think it might have been Dave Enrique, but it might have been somebody else, was about where you go to find books, and how do you search for books and deals and that kind of stuff. I know, DS, you do almost all of it on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's eBay haters out there, and
hey, it's great.
eBay is the largest marketplace in the world, and it's like a 24/7, 365 days a year stock market, and you can go on there at any time and check out new listings and search for slabs with old labels, or look for bronze books that were just listed, look for Silver Age keys. You can find anything at any time, and if you put the time in, you know, sometimes I'll search for, I probably put in a few hours a day on eBay, honestly, every single day. And some days I'll spend 3-4 hours over the course of a day, not all at once, on eBay and not find anything. Then the next day, within the first hour, I'll find 3 bangers that are all home runs. I found a Tomb of Dracula 10. That one I found for $40. Like the same day I found that Strange Tales for 175. That's a 9.4. So I mean, sometimes it's not consistent, but eBay's great. There's tons of stuff on there, and there's people undergrading. People don't. Not everybody has GPA. Keep in mind, it's just this community knows GPA. People sell on eBay. They don't know GPA. They don't watch heritage auctions. They don't know. They just have books, and sometimes they don't know how to grade, and they'll just throw it out there.
Yeah, I will just second that. This Aquaman thing was from eBay. I love buying on. I hate selling on eBay, but buying on eBay, if you're a state that does the tax thing, what that percentage is. Just make sure you figure that, and as long as you get it at a good deal, eBay is great. And the awesome thing is, if they jack your book up when they ship it to you because they don't know how to ship, eBay has excellent buyer protection, and you're automatically through PayPal's goods and services, so you've got protection right there. eBay buying is excellent. I wouldn't sell there, but I would buy there. And I only go to 2 cons a year, and I look when I'm there. But I also like going around at a new flea market or a new comic shop in the area and just hunt through what they have. Like that Spawn newsstand that I said was $5. It was in a comic shop that isn't really a comic shop. It's mainly a toy shop, and I just happened to stumble across it. So I got it, I mean, you don't have to do that, but the more places you look, the more odds are, I would think, that you're going to find a deal. But eBay is one of the easiest and best ones, and you'll probably find more deals on eBay than you will overall going to a bunch of different shops and flea markets and cons.
Yeah, here's one I got recently.
Good grief.
Yeah, now he says it's a 4.0. It's dirty. It needs a press. It needs a clean. But yeah, I think it's a 4.0. Now, what does a 4.0 go for? I'm not sure exactly, but it's more than $31, right? $40. I mean, it's got to be
$150, $200 probably.
Yeah, so I mean, it's slam dunk. That's a no-brainer right there.
Yeah, make money on the buy. That's an example of making money on the buy right there.
Here's another one. I got this at CGC right now. He just says high grade. I got it and cleaned it and pressed it. I thought it's at CGC. I think it's a 9.2. I don't know if that's not a home run, but that's decent. First print. That's not going to be a home run, but that's over $100 if it's in the 9s, because that's a pretty hot issue, and it's been climbing. That's a hot book, I think. I got a Tomb of Dracula 1. He had so he had this at a 2.5. It's like a 6.0. It's at CGC right now. This thing is like a 6.0, $27.
Wow.
eBay, and I'm rolling down.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
J Hood, as of right now, yes, to answer your question.
Yeah, I got this one. Here's a 9.6, a Champions 1 and a 9.6, and an old holder. I don't know if it's bumpable. That's tough to bump to a 9.8, but 9.6 goes for double that. It's a $200 book for a 9.6, so that's already way underpriced. So why not give it a shot? So I cracked it out, pressed it, and it's at CGC. Maybe I'll get a 9.8. If I don't, I'll still make some money on it. But slam dunk on that too. And this is just like, here's one. I've picked up so many of these. This is another good one. These come up all the time. 8.5 range, $55. Not killer deal, but I mean, it's money. So
now, how do you put in the search? Are you putting in Avengers 196 or Bronze Age, or how are you searching for these?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to share my specific search, but
well, just answer this: do you specifically look for that issue, or do you?
No, I do 2 types of searches. One is where I specifically go look for certain books. I'll search for like Tomb of Dracula 10. I'll search for that, and I'll scroll through and I'll sort it by lowest priced, highest priced, newest listings, whatever. And I'll look through and I'll try to see if there's any good deals there. And then another type of search I do is random. It's just whatever. And I usually do that by era. I'm not going to go into the sort of filters or how I scroll or search, but I go by eras. I'll look for bronze books. I'll look for silver age books. I'll look for copper age books. Sometimes newest listings, sometimes lowest price, sometimes certain keywords. There's different strategies I use, but sometimes I search for a specific thing and sometimes I'm just randomly looking what's out there. But you got to put the time in. I do a few hours a day and I find quite a few deals, I think.
What about you, WhoDat? Now that you're back, how do you do most of your searching for stuff?
I don't search as much on eBay. Honestly, I'll go from time to time. I'll find some cheap slabs. I love finding slabs that are like $20 with free shipping. Those are always awesome. Always look for CBCS. CBCS, I always search CBCS or not CGC. You'll be surprised what kind of deals you get on books that are just because they're CBCS. Like CGC won't cross over great. And I do a lot of searching on Instagram. I do more Instagram than eBay. I need to get on eBay more, I would say, because a lot of people get good deals on eBay. But I mean, the last deal I got on eBay was like a C2E2 book that just came out, the Turtles 102. So, I don't spend as much time on eBay, but I spend more time on Instagram and at comic shops. I just go to comic shops when I go, have free time and look and see, because you'd be surprised. Well, if you have some around you that, when you just go in there, you're like, wait, you just put some new stuff on the wall. Like my shift shop will do it all the time. And, so that's all I do. I don't really do as much as eBay like I should. I wish I could.
Yeah, and somebody's asking, J Hood's asking, what is your strategy for starting price on eBay? Some of the stuff I come across is buy it now. And if it's a good price, I'll buy it now. Some stuff is for best offer. I'll make lowball offers all day long on eBay. I don't care. I'm not going to make lowball offers to you guys. If you have a book, I'm not going to lowball you. That's different because we're like friends, sort of. You know what I mean? I mean, that's exactly what we are, is how I feel about it. But on eBay, if somebody's got best offer, I'll lowball all day long. I'll send 20 lowball offers. 2 of them will say yes. Okay, so the other ones are get pissed off and insulted and decline it. Okay, whatever. I'm just trying to make money. Some stuff's auctions, and I'll just click watch. And some auctions end at 4 in the morning. Some auctions
selling
Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Yeah, the end of the work week. Nobody's checking out auctions. You can score deals all day on Thursdays. Thursdays afternoons are great. There's so much stuff listed on eBay. There's so many auctions ending. Thursdays are great. Friday afternoon's not bad either. Sunday night, I usually stay away from auctions that end Sunday night because everybody's watching them. You're not going to find deals. Yeah, I mean, it just depends. I don't discriminate on eBay what's the price point or like the type of sale. I look at everything and I pick what's good, and then I just try to get as many as possible.
Yeah, that's great information. But he was asking, how do you sell on eBay? What do you use? You have a strategy? Do you do buy it nows, or do you start it at 99 cents?
It depends on the book. Some books where it's like if it's a golden age book, like right now I've got something on eBay that's the second highest graded. It's a pre-code horror book. There's no really price data. I don't want to put that in an auction because it might go low. So I have it at a best offer out there. And we'll see what happens. I'll probably send it to Comic Link. But stuff that is a lot of data on it and it's a very well-established price point in the market, like pretty much any superhero key, bronze keys, I'll just put them on auctions starting at 99 cents for 7 days, and I time them to end on Sunday night. And they will get what they get. And if you have like pretty much any like Spider-Man key, doesn't matter if it's worth 10 grand. You could start at 99 cents and it will sell for 10 grand. ASM 300 and 9.8 start at 99 cents. It will sell for $2,000. So, I mean, but stuff like Golden Age books or super high grade, like weird stuff, funky books, there's not as much data, maybe a smaller demand out there. That's dicey to do on auctions. Sometimes it goes high, but sometimes it goes low. So those I usually do best offer stuff.
Yeah. And I would suggest I stopped selling on eBay because of having to make sure that I got the book at such a deal that I could start it low to get eyes on it. And then I also had to figure out, well, if it sells at this is what the fees will be. If it sells at this is what the fees will be. I just sell on YouTube. That's actually just about the only place I sell.
YouTube and Instagram.
eBay, if you can afford the 13% in fees and you got the book at a great deal, then start it as low as you can. I mean, if it's something like DS said, that's ASM, and you got a great deal on it, 99 cents, it'll sell. Don't worry.
Well, fellas, we are at an hour, so I usually want to keep these close to that. You guys got any final points you want to make about, how you go about it that you haven't had a chance to talk about? And we can start with Big Will.
Yeah. Think about insurance for your collection, especially if you're going to wind up having mainly, bigger books. Or my rule of thumb is if you can fit $2,000 in a short box, you need some insurance. And if you're going to be sending books out all over the place, to pressing, to grading, doing a lot of shipping, either coming to you or going from you, think about insurance. I know my collectibles insurance. I have a $10,000 policy. Right now, my collection ain't half that, but it's like $74 or $80 a year.
Yes,
Not that expensive. I would definitely recommend looking into insurance.
And we did do a Collecting Smart on insurance, and I believe you were on that show with us and KYC, or maybe not.
I think that was WhoDat and Matt. I don't think
maybe WhoDat and Matt and NYC, because Kavi was on that. So
yeah.
But what about you, DS? Any other little subject matters you haven't had a chance to talk about?
Well, the key if you're trying to make money on comics or trying to build a budget, you have to sell stuff. If you're not selling, you're not going to get any money. That's the only way to get money is you have to sell. And I'll tell you, don't be afraid to sell books, no matter how much you like them, how hard it was to get, whatever, because I have rarely ever had regrets when I sold something. The only regrets I can think of, and there are many, are things I didn't buy. So the stuff I didn't buy is the regrets, not the stuff I sold. So don't be afraid to sell stuff. If you ever just think you made a mistake, you can always get the book back, no matter how rare it is, no matter what. You can always reacquire things. So don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to sell stuff and go after other stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're not going to regret it most of the time. I mean, you can, when you get it, you'll be questionable about it and you might regret it or second guess yourself until you get to that end result and you get that new grail. And then you realize it was worth it. And that makes the next time easier. But if you never take that first leap and sell anything, it's hard to get traction unless you're making a lot of money at your real job, which most of us are just, not rich. So.
Yeah. What about you, WhoDat? Anything else you want to mention before we go?
A lot what he said, but don't grow too attached to stuff. As far as collecting books, don't grow too attached to it. I would say 99% of the stuff that I think you collect, you can get back. So if you want to sell something at a peak, because all of a sudden they announce a movie, especially if it's a villain, sell it, wait a year, maybe two, especially if they kill a villain off, wait a year and buy that book back for cheaper than you bought it for the first time. I know plenty of people who wanted Iron Man 55. They're the ones I know are patient. They're very disciplined, very patient, and they're going to get that book for really cheap in probably a year or two. Just wait for another movie or two to come out, and Thanos is not coming back. They're going to be like, "Ooh, I can get this book that's a high grade raw copy for $100." Be like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. I bought a Hulk 181, 8.5 white pages, and this was like a year and a half ago, something like that. I paid $2,700 for it. The price, that was right before the price went crazy, and it jumped up within a few months. 8.5s were selling for $5,000. So I had this book only for a couple months. I sold it for $5,000, and now it's what, 2,700, 3,000. 3,500. I mean, it's not $5,000 anymore. So if I want another 8.5 white page Hulk 181, I can get another one for cheaper than what I sold that one for. And yeah, the books go up and down. But if I would never have sold that, I'd be holding a book that had gone up in value and come back down in value, and I still hold it. But now I have the money to work with, and I made a big profit on it. So.
The other thing I wanted to add is the last thing I want to add is books you get for a good price. I mean, like, really good price, you get it graded and it comes back a great grade, and you don't have much invested into it. You don't have to move those immediately because you don't have much invested in it. I'm gonna show this book, and it's probably I only have $150 invested in it after the pressing, grading, and all that stuff. And the price of this book in a 9.8 is pretty much $1,000. That's without any movie news, without any speculation. This book in a 9.8, that's what it sells for all day, all night, $900 to $1,000. I only have, like I said, not even $200 invested into it. I don't mind holding this book, because even if the comic book prices plummet, this book, even when the prices plummeted years ago, still is a $900 book and a 90.
And the price on that's already come down because it was at like $1,300. Now it's at $1,000. You're in the money no matter what.
And don't be like, for books like this, don't be afraid to, if you have a book that you don't have much invested into it, it doesn't hurt to hold it, because if you only got a few dollars into it, if you're waiting for some kind of thing to pop, it's not going to hurt. If you need to move it, then you can still move it. You're still going to have a profit, So, right. Some things you can be patient with, but certain things, like Yes was saying, like that, like a book doubled in price. Yeah, that's a great time to get out of it. I guarantee if they announce something for this character and all of a sudden it comes with a $2,000 book, I'm going to sell it. But I don't need to right now at the current price. And the other thing I would say is ask questions, message people, especially that you talk to on these, shows, Instagram and all that stuff, because I know I've talked to DS before. I've talked to at 7 Mad. I've talked to everybody about different type of, comics that I see. Because you never have enough knowledge, and you always want that another opinion maybe. And it always helps, and especially if you have pictures for grading. I know ET and Nick's good for this. If you email him and you kind of question about grading, he'll email you back probably within 24 hours. And maybe it's not fast enough, you need to know about a deal right now. But most times if people are trying to sell something and you're on that point of buying, they'll give you 24 hours. So always ask questions if you need questions. Everybody doesn't know everything. And don't be afraid to take that jump to sell something, to get the book you really want. If you really have an interest on another book, and say you have one of the superheroes that you're like, oh, I like it, but if you can't say you love it, and that means you can let it go.
Oh, that reminds me, there's one thing we didn't talk about, and WhoDat, I think, is one of the masters of it. I want a 9.8 CGC New Mutants 98. I have a 9.6. When I'm ready to get a 9.8, I'll be selling the 9.6. So I'll have to come up with about half the money that I need.
Yep. I done it. Matter of fact, I'll show you the book I done it with, then whatever you want to end it with. This book here, I sold it at a high for a 9.0. The 9.0 and the 9.2 prices were the same at one point on GPA. So, and then I had a 9.0 white pages, mind you, CBCS, sold it for the, CGC prices, used that exact money and bought this one from a dealer on Instagram, and didn't use any money out of my pocket. And actually, I think I pocketed a couple $. It wasn't a lot. It was maybe like $20, $30, but I ended up getting a 9.2 and an older label from a CBCS. Yeah, and I this book went crazy right after I did that too, and I was like, oh my god. But yeah, that's a good thing to do. If you want a book, you want a certain grade, like Big Will says, like sell it at that lower grade, use a little bit of cash, or sell another book that all of a sudden made those top 10 hot lists that you like to do, and You know, and you're like, all right, let me get rid of this book. It's $40, $50. I can put that towards the other book, and there you go. Now you didn't use any money, you know, any personal money.
Nice. Well, fellas, I think we're gonna, unless there's something else, Big Will, I think we're gonna wrap this up. You guys got anything coming up? The auctions or anything else coming up that you want to plug? Wait, here at the end. Big Will, we'll start with you again.
There might be something this Saturday. I think John's done with his auctions, so me and Metaphorical have been trying to take up JB's slack for the 3 weeks he's not doing his community pop-up shop. So we may be doing that this Saturday.
Okay. Nice. What about you, DS? Got anything coming up?
No, I'll probably do a video and put out some sort of content tomorrow, but I really don't know what. I don't know. We'll see. But I got a lot of stuff at CGC and a lot of books I'm trying to sell and books I'm looking at. I've got one really awesome book I bought, but I don't have it yet. I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm super excited to get it. So I'm gonna, as soon as I get that, I'll be showing that on my channel. It's really a killer book. So.
And a book, PC book, or a?
I mean,
a temporary PC book, which is all.
Yeah, I think it's a temporary PC book. It's a book I really like. It's a bronze superhero book, which is unusual for my collection, but you guys will understand when you see it. And it's sort of a long-term investment. And yeah, I think it's really good. I don't want to spoil the surprise. I want to wait and make sure I get it in my hands and not jinx myself that it gets lost in the mail or anything. So I'm just going to wait till I have it in my hands, and then I'll show it. And it's, yeah, I'm super excited to get it, but the deal's done, so we'll see when it gets.
Well, I look forward to seeing that. And WhoDat, you got anything coming up?
I'll probably be on Strictly Comics' auction Sunday. So y'all guys check it out on Strictly Comics' channel Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. I'll probably have a CGC unboxing whenever it comes in. I'm waiting on about 9 books, and then I have 10 more waiting in a wing. So pretty much I got a good little bit of unboxing and to let everybody know who bought mystery boxes from me. I'm gonna ship that out tomorrow. My daughter mixed them up. They're right next to me. She played like musical chairs. It's kind of like, this is the top one. I don't even know what's in it anymore. It was hilarious. She was like, put it on top, put this on the bottom, move this one to the left. So I'll get all that. Yeah, I'm gonna send that out to everybody. I'm just gonna go down the list who paid me first and send them out to people like that. So that's gonna be pretty fun to see people open those up. And that's all I got. So hopefully I see people on the auctions, and if you want to just come check out, you get some crazy deals sometimes. You never know what you're gonna see. You could see X-Men 12, which I've seen that twice so far, or a whole bunch of X-Men 266s. I feel like Gamut's like all over the place. So come get some good deals, people, and you won't be disappointed, because I think you get better deals on YouTube than you get on eBay in most cases. And a lot of people will work with you, so you can maximize that shipping. That's even better. So that's all I got. Thank you for having me, and it's cool talking to everybody.
Yeah, Kingdom. I don't do a lot of hunting because of where I live. There's not a lot of places to hunt nearby, but I do a little bit. Not a lot. I mostly do a lot of eBay searching for stuff, but that's just kind of how I go about it. My channel, I'll have my look back this week. Finally, after 2 weeks off, it'll be back this week. I should have some stuff prepping for PlanetCon, my second con in less than a month, and my second con of the year, and will be the only 2 cons I go to this year. And hopefully we're going to do a Gotham City sometime soon. And I got at least 1 book that I purchased strictly for this purpose on the way, and I got a couple others I'm looking at. So hopefully I'll have a few books to start turning and selling. So we'll see how it goes with me trying to do this. But I want to thank these 3 gentlemen for a great discussion. I contributed almost nothing to this, but I want to thank you guys. You did a great job. You guys, I think, gave a lot of insight to the community and anybody that's wanting to try to move in this direction and try to make themselves more self-sustainable in their comic collecting. And with that, we are going to call this an evening. Thanks everyone in the chat. I did not do a great job of shouting you guys out, but House to the End is still here. Kingdom Comics, Jay Hood, Rob Boswell, Wolf Blitz, thank you. Dollar Ben is still hanging out. Magic Lasso, Purgatory Paul, thank you guys. Dre the Collector, and I'm not going to scroll back too much further, but yeah, thank everyone that's here. I really appreciate it. We've been 25 to 35 the whole time. So that's a really good audience for me, at least. So thank you guys, and we will catch you all next time.
Catch you later.